One of the fond memories when you look back in history during the 60s and 70s is the prevalence of the hippies in Nepal. That's when a lot of people started coming to Nepal as well. What was that era like?
I think it was not a problem here, because you asked about how the Nepalese treated me. They've been very, very tolerant. And hippie dancing in front of Hanumantoka, Bhaktapur, yeah, white dress like sadhus or so, and Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, and all this, and drums. I also did not understand from where this system, or why they imported it from India, and the Nepalis even less. And I haven't heard of any conflict between hippies and the public, except for the filming and of the Fanan's film, and maybe in private the parents complain that the youngsters have been too nearby. But I don't know of any of the players or people I worked or made sport with taking or being part of the scene.
So you were here before the whole scene started. You saw it
No,
happen
I
in front of
think
your
I
eyes.
saw it
building
up, and it, when I left in 77, I think it started to die down because of the government rules. Yeah, but I would say it was quite a peaceful kind of, say, revolution, and very much tolerated by the Nepali public. At home they would have gone to jail, or people would cry and do. Yeah, so I would say it was not a big problem from the side of the Nepalese, at least not in public.
So the hippie movement was rising up slowly. My assumption is like things like these. I mean, like hashish and marijuana had slowly started becoming legal, or at least they were being sold in public, right? So that might have been new for the Nepali public as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how was it? Because from what I've understood or listened to people talk about history, it seems like it has the usage of marijuana and hashish has always been here. It's just that the hippies were sold or getting used to this culture. But from what I'm understanding, the whole movement was sort of building up. That means it was new for the Nepali people to accept cannabis as well and hashish. Were there stigmas associated?
It was maybe if it was a problem, but only for the hippies.
Okay, so the locals were not using it as much?
Did not meet.
Okay.
I think there have been, but why not? And the funny thing is that also the hippie movement in Europe started very slowly. And why, especially in Volkswagen minibuses, they drove through Iran, everything was possible at that time, to Goa. And when it became too hot in Goa, or before it got hot, they came to Kathmandu. When it got too cold in Kathmandu, they went back to Goa. So that time you could cheaply buy used second-hand Volkswagen minibuses. Yeah, but look, what I told about Setu Machendranath, the daily chilim, I didn't see young Nepalis trying to get a puff too. It was concentrated to the group of elderly. Maybe there was a young drummer, but they did not get high because one puff is not enough.
No.
Yeah, so they controlled the consumption. And maybe there have been problems, but I was not aware of it.
Were there any conversations or stigma or some sort of negative connotations associated with marijuana among the locals?
I never heard.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was not their problem, I think. And maybe it was more the problem of high society having contact to foreigners,
Right.
but the common people not. I don't know of any football players or athlete going to such places or buying stuff.
Did you ever try it out?
Yes. You see, I always have to think, I talk so often to different people now, they want to know. I didn't smoke cigarettes. So my first experience has been Setu-Machendranath. I like to go there, listen to music, sitting at the bench, which they destroyed and made modern now, and listened. And at the end of the performance, they shared either biscuit or even a moolah, cut it. Everyone who has been, even beggars or sometimes tourists or also hippies, listen and have been part of the ceremony. They got their piece of moolah and the chilim went around. And when it was my turn, how to say, my throat burned, I was coughing, I could not take a proper, how you call it, puff? I don't know,
Puff, yeah?
Puff,
I
yeah?
think that's the word for it, yeah.
But of course I would like to learn. So the second time I went, that time Tamil did not exist, but some American volunteers stayed in a Rana Dawa, and I think it was owned or hired by Kana Sakya at the time. I was invited to a, we called it Hashish party.
Okay.
As I couldn't smoke, they offered me hash cookies. And I didn't know how they prepare, but they asked me, the American volunteers, take 2 or 3, then you are on the safe side. It tasted well. For 1 or 2 hours, no result in my mind or body.
How many did you take?
3.
3. Okay.
And then I got real stomach trouble. So I took my cycle and left, got home safely. And the next morning, riding down the hill from Lazimpad, direction Papa Mahal. Oh, I felt it so sunny, so nice. Everything
You were
was
feeling
good.
euphoric.
And then I realized this is what you call to be high.
The next day?
The next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I told
Did
him,
you not feel anything on the same day?
No.
Nothing really.
I felt bad. I vomited.
Yeah.
And during night, I don't know, maybe I was too tired. The next day, at least, I thought, or I had to learn, being Aila Gulu, you are drunk. But by hashish, you are high, not drunk. You realize music more, or maybe dancing or whatever. I didn't have experience. And I only learned, I tried. My girlfriend at that time, she was used, but only in a certain group of people, volunteers, she could trust. And I watched her. When they realized it's enough, they stopped. But the problem was, I had the 3 cookies. I could not prove how many blocks of hashish has been inside. Maybe I had just too much.
Yeah. It's actually different. The way, I mean, for people who are used to alcohol and have never tried marijuana, for them it's hard to explain how the marijuana high is different than getting drunk. It's completely different, 2 different feelings.
Yes.
And similarly, when it comes to marijuana or hashish, when you smoke it versus when you ingest it orally or when you eat it, from what I've heard, it's a different kind of high. It's much more intense when you ingest it because some other receptors are activated, which is not activated while you're smoking. So it's a much more intense, it works way slowly, and it lasts for longer as well.
I'm not an expert on it, but at least my hashish experiences, also in my the friends or volunteers, no one, even those freely who closed doors and windows not to hear loud music, got addicted. When they went home, the material wasn't available. Yeah, they could not jump to another material, and they got clean. I think the chemical makes you dependent on.
Yeah, definitely is a huge issue right now.
Yeah, and this is much more dangerous. And so my experiences have been poor. Because I couldn't smoke cigarettes even.
Yeah, but then like what you're saying is completely true. I mean, like the marijuana that used to be found here or that's still grown out in the wild, it has probably like 4 or 5% THC, which is not that strong compared to the ones that we're getting abroad, which is like at the minimum 23, 25%, 30%.
Yes.
I think it's the psychoactive part of it, and that is much more intense and gets you kind of dependent if you're using it for a longer period of time. So, yeah.
Even my wife, she liked it, but she said not very often. Because she also worked outside, but she had some friends, and it was not to get drunk together or high, it was relaxing.
Yeah.
But there was a certain point where they stopped.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knowing when to stop. Same with alcohol. I mean, like there are people who get blasted out and then, pass out. I mean, that's wrong.
Yes.
You have to know your limit. And I get it, like, especially when it's edible, you don't know how much concentrated it is.
But this I had to learn. I learned, so I kept my fingers away.
So you never tried it after that?
No, not with cookies.
Okay. All right. So what else did you discover? I wanted to know, I mean, like back then?
No, one small thing on smoking.
Okay.
We smoke like that with a cigarette in my mouth. When I saw first time the cigarette between what is the middle and what we call ring finger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought it
You mean the
funny.
same cigarette? It was not the...
Yeah, no, the very small. Okay. The homemade...
Home ruled.
Yeah, packets of cigarettes too expensive for company. They have been not beady, but very cheap type of, say, cigarettes.
So people would roll tobacco at home.
Yes. Okay. And then I saw at construction site, they did it because they passed it around.
Okay, so you're not trying to touch it with your mouth.
You did not finish one. Okay. This was a chance, and here. Yeah, in your feast. Because of, say, religious reason that you don't make the first sip and make the thing dirty, ritually dirty. Yeah? And I still see it from time to time here.